The wind howled through the streets of Haven 7 Colony like a wounded animal. Taemin pulled his jacket tighter as he locked the front door of his workshop. The metal shutters rattled against their frames. Winter storms on this planet were brutal, and tonight looked especially bad. He had spent 14 hours fixing a broken hauler engine. His hands were covered in grease and his back ached. All he wanted was to go home, eat something hot, and sleep. The workshop sat at the edge of the colony, far from the fancy buildings where the rich people lived. Out here, the streets were dirty and the lights flickered. Taemin turned to walk toward his small apartment when he heard a sound. It was soft, almost lost in the wind, a whimper. He stopped and listened. There it was again. Behind his workshop near the storage containers, something moved in the shadows. Taemin reached for the flashlight on his belt. The beam cut through the darkness and found her. She was small, maybe reaching his shoulder if she stood up straight, but she was not standing. She was crouched against the wall, shaking. Her body was covered in light brown fur, and a large fluffy tail wrapped around her like a blanket that was not working. Her clothes were torn and dirty. Her feet were bare. Taemin had seen her species before. The colony people called them squirrel aliens because of their tails and quick movements. He did not know their real name. Most humans did not care to learn. The girl looked up at him with huge eyes. They were dark and wet, reflecting his flashlight like mirrors. She raised one small hand, not to defend herself, but to shield her eyes from the light. "Please," she said in Galactic Common. Her accent was thick and her words came slowly. "Please, sir." Taemin lowered the light. His first thought was to walk away. The colony had rules about aliens. There were permits and paperwork. Getting involved with a homeless alien could mean trouble. The colony administrator did not like aliens much. Many humans did not, but the girl was shaking so hard her teeth were chattering. He could see that even in the dim light. "What do you want?" he asked. His voice came out harder than he meant. She pointed past him with a trembling finger. Taemin turned and saw what she was pointing at. Behind the workshop, near the back fence, was a small structure he had built months ago. It was a doghouse, really. He had made it for the stray animals that wandered the colony streets. It had insulated walls and a waterproof roof. He had even put a heating pad inside that ran on solar power. "Sleep," the girl said. "Please, only tonight." Very cold. Taemin stared at her. She wanted to sleep in the doghouse. Not in his home. Not even in his workshop. Just in the doghouse meant for animals. Something twisted in his chest. He tried to ignore it. "You cannot stay here," he said. "Colony rules." "I could get in trouble." The girl nodded quickly. "I go morning. Before light. Nobody see, please." Her eyes filled with tears. Very cold. "I die, maybe." She was not being dramatic. Taemin knew the temperature would drop below freezing tonight. Without shelter, she might actually die. "Where do you work?" he asked. "Where do you live?" The girl looked down at her bare feet. "No work, no home. Before I work spaceport, loading boxes. Boss say I too slow, he fire me. My sleeping place, they take it. Other aliens there now." Taemin knew the spaceport bosses. They were cruel to alien workers. They paid almost nothing and fired them for any reason. The sleeping quarters for alien workers were barely better than cages. "Do you have family?" he asked. "Friends?" She shook her head. Her tail drooped until it touched the ground. "All gone. War take them. I come here, new start, but hard. Very hard." The wind picked up again. The girl wrapped her arms around herself. Taemin could see she was malnourished. Her fur was patchy in places. One of her ears had a tear in it that had healed badly. He thought about his own life. 10 years ago, he had come to Haven 7 with his wife and daughter. They were going to start fresh, build something good. Then the mining accident happened. A tunnel collapsed. His wife and daughter were in the colony shelter directly above it. The shelter fell into the tunnel. 53 people died that day. Taemin had been alone ever since. He knew what it felt like to have nothing. To have no one. "One night," he said finally. "Just tonight. You leave before sunrise. If anyone sees you, I will say I did not know you were there. Understand?" The girl's face transformed. Her eyes went wide and bright. Yes, understand." "Thank you, sir." "Thank you." She started to bow repeatedly, her tail wagging despite her exhaustion. Taemin held up his hand to stop her. "Wait here," he said. He went into his workshop and found an old thermal blanket in the storage closet. It was not much, but it was warm. He also grabbed a bottle of water and some dried fruit from his personal stash. When he came back outside, the girl was still waiting in the same spot. She looked afraid to move, afraid he might change his mind. "Here," he said, handing her the blanket and food. "The doghouse has a heating pad inside. It should keep you alive tonight. There is a water pump by the back fence if you need more to drink." The girl took the items like they were precious treasures. "Thank you, sir. I work for you. I clean, I help, whatever you need." "No," Taemin said firmly. "You do not owe me anything. Just survive the night and go in the morning. That is all," but the girl shook her head. "I owe you life. I pay back. I promise." Taemin did not argue. He was too tired. "What is your name?" he asked. "Quilara," she said. "But colony people cannot say." "They call me Nari, you call me Nari." "All right, Nari, I am Taemin. Stay warm, leave early." He turned to walk away but stopped. "Nari?" "Yes, sir?" "Lock yourself in the doghouse. There are bad people in this area at night. Do not open it for anyone except me. Understand?" She nodded seriously. "I understand. Thank you, Taemin, sir." Taemin walked away into the storm. He did not look back. If he looked back, he might do something stupid like invite her into his actual home. That would be too much. Too complicated. As he walked through the dark streets toward his apartment, he wondered if he had made a mistake. The colony was not kind to people who helped aliens. There were groups of humans who hated aliens and blamed them for taking jobs and resources. If they found out he let an alien sleep on his property, even in a doghouse, there could be trouble. But when he closed his eyes that night in his warm bed, all he could see was Nari's huge, desperate eyes. He imagined her curled up in the doghouse with the thermal blanket, finally warm and safe for the first time in who knows how long. He told himself it was just one night. Tomorrow she would be gone and his life would return to normal. He had no idea how wrong he was. He had no idea that letting a poor alien girl sleep in his doghouse would change everything. The sun rose over Haven 7 colony with weak yellow light. Taemin woke up early, which was unusual. He had barely slept. All night he kept thinking about the alien girl sleeping in his doghouse. What if she froze anyway? What if someone found her and caused trouble? What if she stole something and ran away? He got dressed quickly and made some hot soup from dried vegetables and noodles. It was simple food, but warm. He put it in a thermal container and walked to his workshop. The streets were quiet. Most people were still sleeping. That was good. No one would see him bringing food to an alien. When he reached his workshop, he stopped and stared. The front windows were clean. They had been dirty for months, covered in dust and grime. Now they sparkled. He unlocked the door and stepped inside. Everything was different. The floor had been swept. The tools that had been scattered everywhere were now organized on the workbench. His papers were stacked neatly. Even the trash had been taken out. Taemin stood in the middle of his workshop with his mouth open. In the back corner near the storage room, Nari was on her hands and knees scrubbing the floor. Her tail swished back and forth as she worked. She was humming a soft tune. "What are you doing?" Taemin asked. Nari jumped up so fast she almost hit her head on the workbench. "Taemin, sir, I sorry. I wake early, cannot sleep. Want to help. Want to say thank you." "I told you that you do not owe me anything," Taemin said, but he could not help looking around at the clean workshop. "It looked better than it had in years." "I know," Nari said, "but I want to. Please." Her eyes were so hopeful it hurt to look at them. Taemin sighed. "Did you eat?" She shook her head. "No food is okay. I'm not hungry, that was a lie." Taemin could hear her stomach growling from across the room. He held out the thermal container. "I made soup." "Eat it." Nari's eyes went huge. "For me, real food?" "Yes, for you. Sit and eat. Then you should go like we agreed." But Nari did not sit. She took the soup with shaking hands and started crying. Big tears rolled down her furry face and dripped onto the floor she had just cleaned. "Why you so kind?" she asked between sobs. "Humans here, they kick me. They spit, they say bad words. You give blanket. You give food. Why?" Taemin did not know how to answer. He was not even sure himself. "Just eat," he said quietly. Nari sat on the floor and ate the soup slowly, like she wanted it to last forever. She made small, happy sounds with each bite. Her tail wrapped around her legs. Taemin started working on an engine that needed fixing. He tried not to watch her, but he could not help it. She was so thin. How long had she been hungry? Just as Nari finished the soup, the workshop door opened. Taemin's heart jumped. Donghyun walked in carrying a broken power regulator. Donghyun was a regular customer. He ran a small farm outside the colony. He was also very traditional and did not like aliens much. He always complained about them taking human jobs. "Morning, Taemin," Donghyun said. Then he saw Nari. His face changed. "What is that doing here?" Nari immediately stood up and backed into the corner. Her ears pressed flat against her head. "She is just leaving," Taemin said quickly. "She was asking for directions." "That is all." Donghyun looked suspicious. "Directions? Her kind do not belong in human workshops. They steal. Everyone knows that." "She did not steal anything," Taemin said. His voice was harder now. "And I would appreciate it if you did not insult people in my workshop." Donghyun's eyebrows went up. "People? That is not a person. That is an alien." Taemin felt anger rising in his chest. "She has a name. She has feelings. That makes her a person." Nari made a small sound. Both men looked at her. She was pointing at the power regulator in Donghyun's hands. "That broken inside," she said quietly. "Wire melt, blue wire. Connect to wrong place." Donghyun stared at her. "What did you say?" Nari looked at the floor. "Sorry, I not speak. I go now." But Taemin was interested. "Nari, how do you know the blue wire is melted?" She glanced up at him nervously. "I see the energy. My people, we see energy like you see colors. That machine energy not flow right. Stop inside. Must be wire." Taemin took the power regulator from Donghyun and opened it carefully. It took him 5 minutes to get to the internal wiring. When he did, he found exactly what Nari had said. The blue wire had melted and reconnected to the wrong terminal. "How did you know?" he asked. Nari's tail curled. "My people good with machines. We feel energy. See patterns. Before war, my people make ships, make computers, make many things. But war destroy all. Now we nothing." Donghyun was staring at the opened regulator. She was right. She did not even open it. She just knew. Taemin looked at Nari with new eyes. "Can you do that with other machines?" She nodded. "Most machines. If they use energy, I see it." For a moment, Taemin said nothing. Then he made a decision that would change both their lives. "Nari, I need an apprentice. Someone to help me in the workshop. The pay is not much, but I can give you food and a place to sleep. Not the doghouse. A real room in the workshop. Would you want that?" Nari's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Her tail started wagging so hard it was almost a blur. Then she started crying again. "Yes. Yes, please. I work hard. I learn fast. I do anything." Donghyun shook his head. "Taemin, think about what you are doing. The other humans in the colony will not like this. They already talk about how aliens are taking our jobs. If you hire one, they might stop coming to your workshop. Then they can go somewhere else," Taemin said. "I need help and she needs work." "It is fair trade," Donghyun sighed. "Your choice. But do not say I did not warn you." He paid for the repair and left, shaking his head. When he was gone, Nari looked at Taemin with tears still running down her face. "You sure? You really want me?" "I am sure," Taemin said. "But there are rules. You work during the day. You study machine repair at night. You stay clean and professional. You represent my workshop now. Understand?" "Yes, I understand. I work so hard. You not regret." Taemin smiled for the first time in months. "We will see. First, let me show you where you will sleep. I have a storage room in the back. It is small, but it has a window and a heater. We can put a bed in there." Nari followed him to the storage room. It was tiny, barely big enough for a single bed and a small table. But it had 4 walls, a roof, and heat. To Nari, it looked like a palace. "This for me?" she whispered. "Real room?" "Real room," Taemin confirmed. "And Nari, no one has ever offered you legitimate work before, have they?" She shook her head. Her voice was so quiet he almost could not hear it. "Never, always temporary. Always bad treatment. Always waiting to be fired. Well, things are different now. Welcome to your new home." Nari broke down completely. She sank to the floor and cried like her heart was breaking. But these were not sad tears. They were tears of relief, of joy, of finally being safe after so long. Taemin stood there awkwardly. He was not good with emotions. He had locked his own away after his family died. But seeing Nari cry made something crack inside him. Maybe helping her could help him too. Maybe they could both heal together. Outside the workshop, the colony was waking up. People were going to work. Ships were landing and taking off from the spaceport. Life continued. But inside the small workshop at the edge of town, two lonely souls had found each other. A human man who had lost everything and an alien girl who had nothing left to lose. Together they would face whatever came next. 3 weeks passed quickly. Nari proved to be the best decision Taemin had ever made. She learned fast and worked harder than anyone he had ever known. She was always the first one awake and the last one to sleep. The workshop had never been so organized and efficient, but not everyone was happy about it. Taemin noticed that fewer customers were coming to his workshop. Some of his regular clients stopped showing up. Others came but looked uncomfortable when they saw Nari. They would whisper to each other and glance at her when they thought she was not looking. One morning, Taemin found graffiti sprayed on his workshop wall. It said "Alien Lover" in big red letters. Nari saw it too. Her ears drooped and her tail went still. "I caused you trouble," she said quietly. "Maybe I should go." "No," Taemin said firmly. He got a bucket and some cleaning solution. "You are staying. Some people are just afraid of what they do not understand. We will clean this and keep working." They cleaned the wall together. But the next week it happened again. And the week after that, business got slower. Taemin's savings were running low. He started to worry. Not about keeping Nari, but about keeping the workshop open at all. If he could not pay rent, they would both be out on the street. One afternoon, a woman in a clean gray uniform walked into the workshop. Her name was Jiwoo, and she worked for the colony administration. She carried a tablet and had a serious expression on her face. "Taemin?" she asked. "That is me," Taemin said. He knew why she was here. Someone had reported him for hiring an alien without proper permits. "I am here about your employee," Jiwoo said. She looked at Nari, who was trying to make herself small in the corner. "Do you have a work permit for her?" Taemin's heart sank. He had been so focused on helping Nari that he had forgotten about the paperwork. Work permits for aliens cost money he did not have. They also required approval from the administration office, which almost never approved them. "I am working on getting one." He lied. Jiwoo gave him a look that said she did not believe him. "You have 2 weeks to show me proper documentation or she cannot work here." "Those are the rules." She started to leave, but then she stopped and looked around the workshop. Her eyes landed on a shelf where Nari had organized all the repair logs. Each machine they had fixed had a detailed document explaining what was wrong and how it was repaired. The documents were clear and professional, much better than what Taemin used to do. "Did you make these?" Jiwoo asked Nari. Nari nodded nervously. "Yes, ma'am. I write down everything. Help remember what works and what not work." Jiwoo picked up one of the documents and read it carefully. Her eyebrows went up. "This is very detailed. Very organized." She looked at Taemin. "Your workshop has improved significantly. I can see that in the records." "Nari is a good worker," Taemin said. "She is honest and skilled. Better than any human apprentice I could hire." Jiwoo did not respond. She just wrote something on her tablet and left. 2 weeks, she said over her shoulder. After she left, Nari started crying again. "I'm so sorry. I cause you problems. Maybe I go before they make you pay fine." "Stop talking like that," Taemin said. "We will figure this out. I am not giving up on you." But inside he was worried. He had no idea how to get the work permit. And even if he did, the graffiti and lost customers showed that many humans in the colony did not want aliens here. 2 days later, everything changed. A man named Hyunwoo walked into the workshop. He was rich, wearing expensive clothes and carrying a small black case. Everyone in the colony knew Hyunwoo. He owned 3 cargo ships and had more money than most people could imagine. "Are you Taemin?" he asked. "Yes, sir. How can I help you?" Hyunwoo placed the black case on the workbench and opened it carefully. Inside was a device that looked ancient. It was covered in symbols from old Earth and had wires and circuits that Taemin had only seen in history books. "This is a pre-war navigation core from Earth," Hyunwoo explained. "It is worth more money than this entire block of workshops. But it does not work. I have taken it to every technician in the colony. No one can fix it. They all say it is impossible." Taemin examined the device carefully. He had heard of these navigation cores. They were made before humans left Earth, using technology that was partly lost now. They could calculate jumps through space faster and more accurately than any modern computer. "I do not know if I can fix this," Taemin admitted. "This is very old technology, very complex. I will pay you 10,000 credits if you can fix it," Hyunwoo said. Even if you just try. I am running out of options. 10,000 credits. That was enough to keep the workshop running for 6 months. Enough to pay for Nari's work permit and have money left over. Taemin knew he had to try. I will do my best, he said. Hyunwoo nodded and left. I will come back in 1 week. Good luck. For the rest of the day, Taemin worked on the navigation core. He opened it carefully and studied the internal components. Everything looked fine. The wires were intact. The circuits had power. But when he tried to activate it, nothing happened. It was like the device was locked from the inside. Nari watched him work. Her tail twitched with interest. Finally, she spoke up. May I look? She asked. Taemin was frustrated and tired. Sure, why not? Maybe you will see something I missed. Nari approached the navigation core slowly. She did not touch it at first. She just stared at it with her huge eyes. Her ears moved forward and her tail went completely still. She was concentrating harder than Taemin had ever seen. After 5 minutes, she spoke. Not broken. What? Taemin asked. Not broken, Nari repeated. Locked, has special lock inside. Energy lock. Very complicated, but I see the pattern. You can see the lock? Taemin asked in disbelief. Nari nodded. My people, we see quantum patterns. This lock used quantum encryption. Very old style. Very smart. But I think I can open it. Taemin felt a surge of hope. Can you try? Nari worked on the navigation core all night. Taemin brought her food and water, but she barely ate. She was completely focused on the device. Her hands moved over it carefully, adjusting tiny components that Taemin could barely see. At dawn, there was a soft humming sound. The navigation core glowed blue. Symbols appeared on its small screen. It was working. You did it, Taemin shouted. You actually did it. Nari smiled, showing small, sharp teeth. I told you my people good with machines. When Hyunwoo came back a week later, he could not believe his eyes. He tested the navigation core thoroughly. It worked perfectly, better than he remembered. This is incredible, he said. How did you do it? My apprentice figured it out, Taemin said, pointing at Nari. She has a special talent for understanding energy systems. Hyunwoo looked at Nari with new respect. I have never seen anyone fix a quantum lock device before. Young lady, if you ever want a job with my company, I will pay you triple whatever he is paying you. Nari's tail wagged, but she shook her head. Thank you, sir. But I stay here. Taemin give me chance when I have nothing. I not leave him. Hyunwoo smiled. Loyalty is rare. That is good. He paid Taemin 10,000 credits plus an extra 2,000 as a bonus. News spread fast in the colony. The story of how the alien squirrel girl fixed an impossible device reached every corner of Haven 7. Some people were impressed. Others were angry. How could an alien be smarter than human technicians? More customers started coming to the workshop, curious about Nari's abilities. But more graffiti appeared on the walls too. The messages got uglier. Aliens stealing our jobs. Send them back. Humans first. One night, Taemin found a threatening note slipped under his door. It said that if he did not fire the alien, there would be consequences. He showed the note to Nari. She read it and her whole body seemed to shrink. Maybe safer if I go, she whispered. Taemin tore the note into pieces. You're not going anywhere. We face this together. But he knew things were getting dangerous. The colony was dividing. Some people supported them. Others wanted them gone. And somewhere in the darkness, people were planning to make sure that happened. The attack came on a Tuesday night. Taemin and Nari had gone to the market to buy supplies for the workshop. When they returned 2 hours later, they found chaos. The workshop door had been smashed open. Inside, everything was destroyed. Tools were scattered and broken. The workbenches were overturned. Paint was splashed on the walls with hateful words. Worst of all, Nari's repair documents had been torn to pieces and burned in the middle of the floor. But that was not the worst part. Taemin ran to the back of the workshop and felt his heart stop. The doghouse where Nari had first slept was completely destroyed. Someone had taken a hammer or bat to it. The walls were broken into pieces. The roof was caved in, and inside the ruins, Nari's few personal possessions had been burned to ash. She only owned 3 things: a small blanket from her homeworld that had survived the war, a photo of her family that was faded and cracked, and a wooden carving her father had made for her when she was young. All 3 were now nothing but ashes. Nari stood there staring at the ruins. She did not cry. She did not scream. She just stood there with her tail hanging limp on the ground. Her eyes were empty, like someone had turned off a light inside her. "Nari," Tamin said softly. He reached out to touch her shoulder, but she did not respond. She just kept staring at the ashes. The colony security came to investigate. They took notes and asked questions, but Tamin could tell they did not care much. One of the officers even suggested that maybe Tamin should reconsider employing aliens if it caused this much trouble. After the security left, Tamin tried to talk to Nari, but she would not speak. She helped him clean up the workshop in silence. Her movements were mechanical, like she was not really there. When night came, Tamin made a decision. "Nari, pack your things. You are coming with me." She looked at him with confused eyes. "Where?" "To my home. My real home. You are not sleeping in this workshop anymore. You are staying with me." Nari shook her head. "Cannot is your home, your private space. I not belong there." "You belong where I say you belong," Tamin said firmly. "And I say you belong in my home. Not as an employee, as family. Do you understand?" That word family broke through whatever wall Nari had built inside herself. Her eyes filled with tears and she started sobbing. Tamin put his arms around her and let her cry. She was so small and fragile in his arms. How had he ever thought of her as just an alien? She was just a girl who had lost everything and was trying to survive. They walked to Tamin's apartment together through the dark streets. Tamin carried the one small bag that held everything Nari owned now. It was almost empty. His apartment was not big. 2 rooms, a small kitchen, and a bathroom. But it was clean and warm and safe. He showed Nari the second bedroom. It had been his daughter's room once. He had kept it locked for 10 years. Now he opened it for Nari. "This is yours now," he said. "Rest tonight. Tomorrow we will figure out what to do." But Nari did not rest. She lay awake all night in a bed that was too soft, in a room that smelled like old memories, thinking about everything she had lost. Her family, her world, her home, and now even the few things she had left. The next morning, the entire colony was talking about the attack. News spread quickly in small places. The colony administration called for a town meeting to discuss the growing tensions between humans and aliens. The meeting hall was packed. Hundreds of people showed up. Tamin and Nari sat in the back trying to stay invisible. But people saw them. Some nodded in support. Others glared with open hatred. The colony administrator, a stern man named Kang, stood at the front. "We are here to discuss the alien problem," he began. "There are more aliens in our colony every year. They take jobs. They use resources. Some people believe this is unfair to human colonists." Several people stood up to speak. Some talked about how aliens were hard workers who did jobs humans did not want. Others complained that aliens were driving down wages and causing crime. Then Bora stood up. She was an old farmer who lived outside the colony. Everyone respected her. "I want to say something about the alien girl Nari," she said. Her voice was loud and clear. 2 weeks ago, my irrigation system broke. I had no money to hire a technician. My crops were dying. Nari came to my farm with Tamin. She fixed my system in 1 hour. She did not charge me anything. She saved my farm. That girl has more kindness in her small body than some humans have in their whole lives. People murmured. Some agreed. Others looked uncomfortable. Then Donghyun stood up. He looked embarrassed. "I was wrong about Nari," he admitted. "I said bad things about her. But she helped me too. My daughter has a medical device that helps her breathe. It broke and the doctors said it would take weeks to get a new one. Nari looked at it and fixed it in 1 day. My daughter can breathe because of that alien girl. I owe her my daughter's life." More people started speaking up. A teacher said Nari had repaired the school's computers. A merchant said she had fixed his payment system. One by one, people stood up and told stories of how Nari had helped them, but not everyone was convinced. A man in the front row stood up. His name was Kang, and he was the leader of the anti-alien group. "All these stories are nice," he said, "but they miss the point. Today it is 1 alien girl. Tomorrow it is 10. Next year it is 100. Eventually they will outnumber us. This is our colony. We built it. We should not have to share it with them." Many people cheered. The meeting hall became noisy with arguments. People were shouting at each other. The administrator tried to restore order by banging his gavel. Then Jiwoo, the woman from the administration office, stood up. She raised her hand and waited until everyone was quiet. "I have data," she said. She held up her tablet. Since Nari started working in this colony, repair times for machines have decreased by 40%. Crime in the workshop district has gone down by 15%, and customer satisfaction has increased by 30%. These are facts, not opinions. She looked directly at the anti-alien leader. "You say aliens are a problem, but the data shows they make our colony better. We should be finding ways to integrate them, not push them away." The anti-alien leader stood up again. "What about jobs? What about our children's future? If we let aliens stay, soon there will be no jobs left for humans." Before anyone could respond, Nari stood up. Taman tried to pull her back down, but she gently removed his hand. She walked to the front of the meeting hall. She was so small compared to the tall humans around her, but she held her head high. "May I speak?" she asked in her accented Galactic common. The administrator looked surprised, but he nodded. "Go ahead." Nari took a deep breath. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. "I not speak good, sorry, but I want to say something." She looked around at all the faces watching her. "I not want to take. I only want to give. Human Taman give me life when I have none. When I cold and dying, he give me shelter. When I hungry, he give me food. When I have no hope, he give me work and dignity." Her voice got stronger. "I give him work, loyalty, respect. This is trade. This is fair. I never forget human kindness. My people all gone. War kill them. But human teach me something. Family, not blood. Family is choice." Tears ran down her furry face. "I choose Taimin. He choose me. We are family now. I stay here, I work hard, I help colony. If you want me leave, I leave. But know this, humans not all bad, not all good. Aliens not all bad, not all good. We all just people trying to live, trying to survive, trying to find place to belong." The meeting hall was completely silent. Even the anti-alien leader had nothing to say. Some people were crying. Others looked ashamed. Nari's simple words had cut through all the arguments and politics. She had reminded them of something they had forgotten, that beneath all the differences, everyone just wanted the same things: safety, purpose, belonging. The administrator was about to speak when suddenly alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed throughout the meeting hall. An emergency announcement came over the speakers. "Emergency at the main power plant. Reactor failure imminent. All personnel evacuate immediately." This is not a drill. The meeting hall exploded into chaos. People ran for the exits, shouting and pushing. Taman grabbed Nari's hand and pulled her toward the door. But in his heart, he felt a cold dread. A reactor failure meant disaster. It could destroy half the colony. Whatever conflicts they had about aliens and jobs did not matter now. If someone did not fix that reactor, they would all die together. The colony power plant was on the edge of town, surrounded by high walls and warning signs. By the time Taimin and Nari arrived, a crowd had already gathered outside. Security officers were pushing people back while engineers in protective suits ran in and out of the building. The head engineer, a woman named Hye Jin, was shouting orders into her radio. Her face was pale with fear. Taman pushed through the crowd to reach her. "What happened?" he asked. Hye Jin looked at him with desperate eyes. "Someone sabotaged the reactor. They put a device inside the core chamber that is disrupting the energy flow. If we cannot remove it in the next 30 minutes, the reactor will have a meltdown. It will create an explosion big enough to destroy half the colony." "Can you send someone in to remove it?" Taimin asked. "That is the problem," Hye Jin said. "The radiation levels inside the core chamber are too high. A human would die within minutes, even with a protective suit. We tried sending in robots, but the energy disruption is so chaotic that the robots shut down immediately. We have no way to reach the device." Taman felt his blood run cold. Around him, people were starting to panic. Some were running to their homes to grab their families. Others were just standing there in shock. The evacuation sirens were wailing across the colony. Then Nari stepped forward. "I can go," she said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. Hye-Jin frowned. "What did you say?" "I can go inside," Nari repeated. "My people, we resist radiation better than humans. Our bodies made different. And I can see energy patterns. I can find the device even in chaos." Hye-Jin shook her head. "Even if you resist radiation better, it might still kill you. This is not safe." "Nothing safe," Nari said simply. "But if I not try, everyone die. Better I risk me than whole colony die." Taman grabbed her arm. "No, absolutely not. I will not let you do this. Nari looked up at him with those huge eyes. Taemin, you give me life. Let me give life back. Let me help. There has to be another way, Taemin said desperately. There is no other way, Hyejin said. Her voice was defeated. We are out of options. If she is willing to try, we have to let her. Taemin felt like his world was falling apart. He had just found Nari. He had just started to feel like he had family again, and now she wanted to walk into certain death to save people who had tried to drive her away. I will go with you, he said firmly. If you go in, I go in too. You die too fast, Nari said. Need someone guide from outside. Then we both wear suits and we both go in, Taemin insisted. I am not letting you do this alone. Nari's tail wrapped around his hand gently. Okay, we go together. Hyejin rushed to get them protective suits. The suits were heavy and had their own air supply. They would not stop the radiation completely, but they would buy them some time. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe less. As they suited up, Jiwoo from the administration office ran up to them. Wait, she said breathlessly. She looked at Nari. If you survive this, I will make sure you get full citizenship. Not just a work permit. Full rights as a colony citizen. I promise, Nari nodded. Thank you. But do even if I not survive. Other aliens need help too. Please remember that. Taemin and Nari entered the power plant together. The inside was hot and filled with flashing red lights. They could hear the reactor humming with unstable energy. Engineers pointed them toward the core chamber access tunnel. The tunnel was narrow and dark. They had to crawl on their hands and knees. Taemin's radiation detector was beeping faster and faster as they got closer to the core chamber. His hands were sweating inside his gloves. Taemin, Nari said through the suit radio. If I not make it, I want you know something. Do not talk like that, Taemin said. Listen, please, Nari insisted. You save me. Not just from cold. You give me purpose. You make me feel like person again. Before you, I just surviving. After you, I living. Thank you for that. Thank you for everything. Taemin felt tears on his face. You saved me too, Nari. You made me remember what it feels like to care about someone. You made me feel alive again. So we are even, and we are both going to survive this. Understand? They reached the core chamber door. Taemin opened it slowly. The room beyond was filled with swirling energy that looked like lightning frozen in the air. In the center of the room, the reactor core glowed with dangerous blue light, and attached to the core was a small black device with blinking red lights. That is it, Nari said. That the bomb. The energy in the room was so chaotic that Taemin could barely see. The lightning patterns moved randomly, making it impossible to predict where they would strike. But Nari moved forward confidently. Her eyes were tracking something that Taemin could not see. Follow my path exactly, she said. Step where I step. The energy has pattern. I see it. Taemin followed her carefully through the chaotic energy field. Nari moved like she was dancing, stepping and turning at just the right moments to avoid the dangerous energy surges. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. They reached the reactor core. Taemin's detector was screaming now. They were standing in lethal levels of radiation. He could feel heat even through his suit. How do I remove it? He asked, looking at the bomb. Do not remove, Nari said. Reconnect wires. See blue wire? Connect to that port. Red wire to that one. We'll reverse the energy disruption. Taemin's hands were shaking. One wrong move and the bomb might explode immediately. But he trusted Nari. She had never been wrong about energy systems. He carefully moved the wires where she indicated. Blue wire to the left port, red wire to the right port. As soon as he connected the red wire, the chaotic energy in the room began to calm. The lightning pattern slowed down and then stopped. The bomb's red lights turned green. It worked, Taemin breathed. You did it, Nari. You saved everyone, but Nari did not respond. She had collapsed to her knees. Even through her suit, Taemin could see she was in pain. Nari, he shouted. He grabbed her and started pulling her back toward the tunnel. Stay with me. We are getting out of here. The trip back through the tunnel was the longest minutes of Taemin's life. Nari was barely conscious. He dragged her the entire way, ignoring his own pain and exhaustion. When they finally emerged from the building, the engineers and security officers rushed to help them. Medical teams were waiting. They took Nari immediately to the colony hospital. Taemin tried to follow, but his legs gave out. Someone caught him before he hit the ground. When Taemin woke up, he was in a hospital bed, His body ached everywhere, and the doctor said he had moderate radiation poisoning. He would recover, but it would take time. The first thing he asked about was Nari. She is alive, the doctor said. Her radiation exposure was worse than yours, but you were right about her species having better resistance. She is sleeping now, but she will be okay. Taemin felt relief wash over him like cool water. She was alive. They were both alive. 2 days later, Taemin was strong enough to walk. He went to Nari's room and found a crowd of people outside. Hyunwoo was there, so were Bora, Donghyun, Jiwoo, and dozens of others. Even Hee-jin from the power plant had come. They all wanted to thank Nari. They brought flowers and gifts and cards. Some were crying. Some were just standing there quietly, not knowing what to say. When Nari finally woke up, Jiwoo was the first to speak. She stood at the foot of the bed with her tablet in hand. Nari, on behalf of the colony administration, I am offering you full citizenship. We are also offering you a position as chief engineer for the colony power systems. The pay is excellent, and you would have a team of engineers working under you. Everyone waited for Nari's response. Taemin held his breath. This was an incredible opportunity. Chief engineer was one of the most important jobs in the colony. Nari would be respected and wealthy. She would never have to worry about money or shelter again. Nari was quiet for a long moment. Her tail swished slowly back and forth. Then she spoke in her accented voice, clearer now than it had ever been. Thank you very much. I accept citizenship. That mean a lot to me. But I not accept chief engineer job. Everyone looked shocked. Jiwoo's mouth fell open. You are refusing the position? But why? Nari looked at Taemin and smiled. I already have job. I am Taemin's partner. We fix things together. We build good business. This enough for me. Simple life is good life. I not need big fancy job. I just need purpose and family. I already have both. The room was completely silent. Then Taemin started laughing. He laughed until tears ran down his face. Of course Nari would choose to stay with him. That was who she was. She did not care about money or status. She cared about loyalty and connection. You are sure about this? Jiwoo asked. Being chief engineer would change your life. My life already changed, Nari said simply. When Taemin let me sleep in Doghouse and not laugh at me. When he give me food and not ask for payment. When he make me partner and not servant. He changed my life. Now I stay with him. We are family. Hyunwoo stepped forward. Well, if you will not take the chief engineer job, at least let me invest in your workshop. You two are too talented to work in that small space. I will provide funding for a bigger workshop with better equipment. Consider it payment for saving all our lives. Nari looked at Taemin. He nodded. We can accept that, Taemin said. Over the next few weeks, things changed in the colony. The people who had sabotaged the reactor were caught.